Welcome to our Triton Talk webinar. Today, you will be hearing from many current undergraduate students at UC San Diego who will be able to talk about their undergraduate experience. So before we begin, just a few housekeeping items. The session is being recorded. So the whole session today will be available at a later time on our YouTube channel. And so people who aren't able to attend, or if you would just like to rewatch the webinar, you'll be able to watch it on our YouTube channel at a later date. There is a Q&A feature located at the bottom of your screen. So feel free to type your questions in there for the panelists to answer. Please do not share any personal information. You may submit your questions anonymously, and there's a lot of you in here, so we'll try to get through as many questions as we can. Okay, so now I'd like the panelists to introduce themselves. So let's start with Noelle. Please tell us your name, where you're from, what college you're in, and what's your major at UC San Diego.
Okay, so hi everyone, my name is Noelle. I'm going into my third year here at UC San Diego, and I am in Warren College. I'm a cognitive science major specializing in design and interaction and minoring in global health, and I'm from Fullerton, California.
Wonderful, thank you. Fazio?
Hi everyone, my name is Fazio. My pronouns are they, them, theirs. I'm from Long Beach, California. I'm in ERC, currently going to my third year. I study global health with a minor in ethnic studies, pre-law.
Wonderful, thank you. Joy?
Hi everybody, my name is Joy. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I'm from San Gabriel, California. And I am currently studying communication, minoring in business, and I'm in Eleanor Roosevelt College.
Thank you. And last but not least, Rocco.
What's up? My name is Rocco. I'm going into my third year in Muir College. I'm originally from Riverside, California, and my majors, I double major aerospace engineering and astrophysics.
Wonderful, thanks everyone. And for all of you in the Zoom room today, please don't forget to submit your questions using the Q&A feature. The first question that we received is, why did you pick UC San Diego? So let's go ahead and start with Noelle.
Yeah, so I was touring schools when I was looking to apply to colleges, and I was actually very focused on going out of state, and that was my thing in high school. I was like, I'm going out of state, I'm going out of state. And then kind of like right before applications were due, I just like really thought about it, and I was like, maybe I don't want to like go across the country right now. Like maybe I want to stay near my family, like near a beach, near just in like Southern California where I'm originally from. It sounded really nice. So I ended up, I didn't actually tour UC San Diego before I was accepted there, but I did visit Triton Day, and I just fell in love with the school. Everyone was so nice. Like from the moment I came on campus, just everyone was so excited to be there, and like everyone working Triton Day was just like so helpful and so kind. And I took all the tours and like went to all the info sessions, and just there's so many amazing different programs that UC San Diego has. Like we have 600 different clubs. Literally anything that you're interested in, you can like fully get involved in and meet people through. It's in a great location. You're like 7 minutes from the beach, which is something super awesome to me. You can just kind of go there in between classes. We have a shuttle that will take you down to La Jolla Shores. So if you ever need a study break, you can literally just like bring your stuff and go to the beach, which is super awesome. And there's so much more. I could go on for days and days, but it's just been like a really awesome experience.
Thanks for sharing, Noelle. Let's go ahead and go with Fazio.
I think for me, it really hit me on my Triton Day. So going through colleges, I really try to find an LGBT focused school and an LGBT friendly school. So I actually went to the LGBT Resource Center where I got to work this past year as an intern. And everyone was really friendly actually. And they also recommended me to join the LGBT LLC, which is a living learning community here on campus. And we have 3 other LLCs here on campus if you don't identify part of the LGBT community, but I've been there all 3 years. I'm actually going to be an RA in the LGBTR LGBTQIA plus LLC this year, which is the Living Learning Community this year. So it's really great. I built a really great support system, a really great family. Really got in to talk with other folks who identify part of the LGBT community on staff, and really got in help from them. So that's why.
Thank you. Okay, Joy.
So I feel like I chose UC San Diego for like a multitude of reasons. When I was looking for schools, I knew that I wanted to go to like a UC school that like had a lot of like strong academics, strong like culture and like academics and everything too, that would keep me like really driven. I also wanted to go to like a large school. So like UC San Diego has about like 30,000 students, and that really drew me in because I love people. And like basically there's so many people like I can like walk down Library Walk and you always meet somebody new. And they all have like really cool stories about how they came here as well. I also chose UC San Diego because the beach is right nearby. Eleanor Roosevelt College is actually one of the closest colleges to the beach. My first year, I had an ocean view on the 4th floor of my residential hall. And so like oftentimes what I would do with my suite mates was we would like look out and watch the sunset together. And that was like really magical as an experience. And I would try to go to the beach as often as I could. And also just San Diego, like as a city, like there's so much to explore. Like some of my friends and like when my family comes, I really enjoy taking them to like Balboa Park, which has a bunch of museums. It has like an arboretum, like these flower gardens that are gorgeous. But also like the vibe, I would say, of the school is very like laid back, chill. Like you get a lot of surfer vibes that like influence the school as well. So those all just kind of came together, and like it really has become a home for me.
Thanks, Joy. Rocco, do you have anything to add?
As for me, I was kind of lucky in high school to know what I wanted to do. I knew like from the start I wanted to do engineering. So when I was looking for universities, I looked at a lot of like engineering specific colleges. But I realized kind of like later on through the process that what attracted me most about UCSD was the fact that it had a really strong engineering department, which is exactly what I wanted. But in addition to that, like there's 30,000 undergraduate students here and so many different departments. And so that's like 30,000 different stories I can learn from people who have entirely different lives than me. And if I do want to branch out, like I later decided to add on astrophysics for a secondary major, I have that option and I'm not limited, and you can do so many different disciplines, so many different majors, and learn so much. And that's what I loved about UCSD, just everything that it had to offer me. And it was really strong in all these respective areas. It's not just a school that's like, oh yeah, we're the best engineering, but like nothing else is good. Like UCSD is good at everything. And plus you get to live in La Jolla in your 20s, and there's just a lot of perks to being in the whole San Diego area in general. So it was I was really attracted to UCSD for a lot of reasons.
Thanks so much, Rocco. Okay, so our next question is can one of you describe the college system? So who would like to answer that? Because I know it's a big answer. Anyone want to volunteer? Noelle, Joy, Bashio, Rocco?
I can take it to start off. So for me, I'm a member of Muir College, and Muir, their philosophy is creating an independent spirit. And so their GEs are known for being a lot more like flexible in the sense that you can kind of choose your own path. So one instance of that is for our writing sequence, it's 2 classes. And then the second one, you have to write like a research paper, but it's in whatever topic you decide. And so I really like that because it's a lot more independent. So I had a friend who wrote about how Spotify reduced his attention span. Another friend wrote about how straightening hair can affect certain like communities, how music led to a revolution in Brazil. Like there's a bunch of really interesting topics that people were able to write about, and it was just completely up to them. And it was really independent in that sense. So that's what I really like about Muir College. And each of them have their own general education sequence. So obviously like all my other coworkers, like they can all talk about their respective colleges. But if you're, let's say you really love history, you might be attracted to one that has more of the history, like the making of the modern world sequence through ERC. That is 5 full quarters of like all of human history. And that could be really interesting for you, for someone who wants to learn a foreign language, or if you don't want to learn a foreign language. Different colleges have their own requirements, but they each kind of give you a slightly different community to call your own throughout your 4 years here at UC San Diego. But that's kind of what it cultivates, because there's a large student population. But if we break it up into now 7 groups on campus, It's a lot easier to find your home. You have your own advisors there. You have your own events. You have your own dining halls. Obviously, everything's open to everyone on campus, but it's kind of cool to be like, oh yeah, Muir College has Pines Dining Hall, and that's like what we call our own. And it really makes sure that you don't get lost in this large university, if that makes any sense.
Made total sense. Thanks, Rocco. Does anyone have anything they'd like to add? Joy?
Yeah, I think Rocco might have mentioned this, but you can also be in like any college and any major. So like it doesn't matter like if you're in say Eleanor Roosevelt College, you can be studying communication, you can be studying engineering. It doesn't matter like at all. And so the main basis, as Rocco also mentioned, is like to have these communities that like support our students here, and creating like easier branching off points and like either coming here socially. We also like touch a little bit on that like in our housing system. All of our housing is like based on the suites. So you basically have like 8 to like 16 people that you like live with for the whole year, and like you get really close because like you stay kind of like in this pod for the year, and those are all people that live in your college as well. So you basically go through like the same track of general education, housing together, and it's a really good bonding experience. Oh, and they're also like physically like located around our campus. They kind of surround the undergraduate perimeter of it, and you have classes like with other students in other colleges too. And so the only classes that you have like specifically with students in your college is usually the writing system. Yeah, I hope that clarifies. And if I had anything else to add.
Thanks, Joy. Noelle, I saw your hand go up. Do you have anything you would like to add?
Yeah, I was just gonna go off of what Rocco and Joy just said, but basically it's kind of nice because like Joy, I was also drawn to a really big school coming into college, but also that can be a little bit overwhelming at times, just because, you know, like suddenly there's 30,000 new faces of people you've never met before, and that can be a lot coming into college. But I think it was nice having like, I'm in Warren College, and like meeting everyone in Warren College through like welcome week, and like meeting people that lived across from me in my residence halls, and like my freshman year roommate became my best friend. Like she's still one of my best friends. So it was nice having like what was mentioned earlier, that branching off point. And then also like through classes, like I had Warren Writing, which is our writing sequence, with a lot of people in my residence hall and in my suite. So it was nice like knowing people in that class. And then it's been nice in like my other general education classes, like seeing people from Warren College, seeing people that I lived with my first year, or that I would grab dinner with and stuff. So it's just having that like little community in like such a big school is kind of nice, because you get the best of both worlds between like a small liberal arts college and like this huge research university.
Very nice, thank you. Okay, I think we're ready for the next question. What is your favorite place on campus? And if one of you kind of wants to describe the atmosphere of campus too, since we're not able to go visit in person right now, that would be great as well. And we can start with Bashio.
Definitely. So one of my favorite places on campus happens to be in Center Hall. There happens to be a little like garden gazebo kind of thing where you can just go sit down on the benches, sit on the grass. It's really nice because it's for the most part peaceful, but during like the 50s and then the 30s of like 130 to like 150, you can also hear like the bustling, hustling of people going to classes. I think that's my favorite place because I get a little secret place where a lot of people can't see me, but I can also hear the shuffling. I come from a big city, so I'm used to like listening to it. So having a little space within a larger community is really nice.
Wonderful, thank you. Joy?
So my favorite place on campus is a little coffee shop. It's called the Middle of Muir. And so, I mean, it's kind of what it sounds like. It's in the middle of Muir College. There's like this like woodsy kind of theme. Think about like hipster coffee shop vibes. On Fridays, they host like open mics where like some of my friends, like I've performed there too. Like it's either like music or like poetry, like really whatever you'd like. And they give you like a space to do it. And this community there is so supportive. Like even if you might not think like you're the best singer or the best guitar player or something, people like will shout there for you, like legitimately. And it's also another one of my favorite places because like a lot of my friends are just like, there's a large like presence there. Like I just walk in and there's like probably 2 or 3 people that I'll like recognize, and that's kind of crazy for like being in a campus that's like 30,000 students. There's always a familiar face, and the baristas are like the nicest.
Wonderful, thank you. Rocco?
As for myself, I have 2 that I'm kind of tied with. The first one being Fallen Star. That's one of the most beautiful places on campus, in my opinion. It's if you ever seen like a picture of UCSD where there's a big blue house on top of a building, that's Fallen Star, and I think it's the coolest part of the Stewart Art Collection. In fact, when I was like taking a virtual tour of UC San Diego before I like came down and took a real one, I saw pictures of that and I was like, that's weird. There's a house on the building. I like that because I really like weird architecture. So that was one of the things that like drew me to UC San Diego, because it had some like weird buildings, like this library behind me. That's a library. Like the architecture here is just pretty cool. But then the other place that I really love is Roots. It's the all vegan dining hall on Muir's side of campus. And it's really good. And I know like a lot of people to be like, oh, it's vegan. Like how good can it really be? I will tell you hands down, it is the best dessert I've ever had in my entire life is a blueberry mango cobbler there. And it is hands down, like I'm an amateur food critic, and that is the highest scoring thing I've ever reviewed in my entire life. And I just love it so much. So, and plus it has like really good music. It's a really nice place. It's less crowded than the other dining hall. And I really like that. So Roots and Fallen Star are my top 2 favorite places on campus.
Wonderful, thank you. And Noelle, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I think probably one of my favorite places on campus, there's a lot, it's a pretty campus, but there's a Pete's Coffee that's in Eleanor Roosevelt College, and it's like kind of high up, and all of the window, or like all of the walls are glass, and then when you look out, it's just like a very pretty view of the Rady School of Business and the ocean, and like it's super nice at sunset. Like I don't know, like it's a really nice environment to like study in, and I love Pete's Coffee too. So yeah, that's my favorite place.
Thank you. So a lot of you mentioned coffee and food places. Does anyone want to describe the food scene at UC San Diego? We can go ahead and start with Bashio.
The food scene is pretty great. Of course, when you come onto campus, you kind of get something. We have dining dollars. So in the beginning of the year, you basically pick your meal plan. And from there, you can go from anywhere on campus in any of the dining halls in any of the colleges. My favorite places though on campus to eat happens not to be one of the dining halls, but a little one of the restaurants called Blue Pepper. I always like to get the green curry if I ever get the chance. But you don't get to use dining dollars. You actually have to use real people money, sadly. So that's one of my favorite places. But you can also go to the markets at like until like 2 in the morning sometimes if you're getting a late night snack. I know I've done that my first year. I've gotten a whole meal. Yeah, got in a whole meal, sushi, ramen, sometimes my scantrons, all in the same place. Really great times.
Great, thank you. Joy?
Yeah, and so like Fossey mentioned like a dining dollar system, and like I guess like to expand a little bit more on that too. So basically it's like a debit card is attached to your student ID, and you get like a chunk of money. It's like different size plans that you could get. Like if you think you eat like a lot of food, you can get like a $5,000 size plan or something. Or like if you live in the apartments and you plan on cooking a lot more food, you can get like a $2,000 size dollar plan. These are like rough estimates of what they specifically are. And you can use them at the markets and like the dining halls. And my favorite dining hall is Ocean View Terrace. It has like a view of the ocean. It's located in Marshall College, and they have make your own pizzas. And they are so good. So I have like a mini story that I really enjoy telling about my experience there is my friend Ron, before he turned 20, had this goal of putting like a preposterous amount of pepperonis on a pizza. I know, like say that 5 times fast. And so he walks in, and he actually used to work at Ocean View Terrace before, helping serve pizzas. So he knew that 5 pepperonis counted as 1 topping. So, and you could get like 10 toppings. So so naturally he just got like a 50 pepperoni pizza. So that's really like what's showing like that there is no limit really. Like I've seen people get pizzas full of cheese. They turn into cheese soup kind of. People get pizzas full of olives. So like whatever suits your fancy.
Great, thank you. Rocco?
For me, I made it my goal to try out every single dining hall within my first quarter at UCSD. I wanted to get that right out of the way. And all of them scored at least a 7 out of 10 on my ranking scale. But if you don't take my word for it, we were ranked in the top 10 in the nation for dining facilities. So that means that other people think it's good as well. But my top recommendations are, first of all, there's Goodies, which is like our knockoff Chipotle, although we're better because we don't charge extra for guacamole. And so that's really good to go get yourself a burrito on campus, pay with the dining dollars. And then there's also like was mentioned earlier, the OVT, like build your own pizza. I love that. I like to just kind of like let the worker decide what to put on the pizza, because then I never know what I'm going to get. And sometimes I get really weird combinations. Like I've had people put bell peppers on pizza and I don't like bell peppers, but somehow they made it taste good. And I would have never tried that on my own. So it's really cool. I like to mix it up like that. And then there's also Roots, though, is my top favorite, most consistent dining hall, because they have a lot of really interesting meals. And since it's vegan, it makes me feel healthy about myself. But I'd say it's pretty good. And I believe Fastio also mentioned the markets, which are open all the time until 1 a.m. So that's super clutch. If you're just like hungry, the dining hall is already closed. Like I want a banana, or I want like a smoothie. They also sell like $1 scoop of ice cream, and that's super clutch because you can just go in at like midnight 30, be like, all right, I got a test tomorrow. I need a Scantron. I need a new pencil, some ice cream, and some coffee. And they have you covered, and it's all dining dollars. So it's pretty clutch. And I'd say that the food does have pretty good flavors. And then when you get bumped up to your second year and you have your apartment, you can buy ingredients. There's a bunch of like the markets on campus also sell like regular raw ingredients to cook with. And there's like one especially like large market on campus, which has like everything you could possibly imagine. I've made some pretty, like my roommates and I, we made really like fancy gourmet meals, at least as gourmet as we could make them possibly, using just ingredients that we found on campus. And it was really nice to kind of cook our own meals and like have home cooked meals, but good food stuff on campus for sure.
Great, thanks. Noelle, do you have anything to add?
I guess something small is just when I came to UC San Diego, I thought it was really cool that we had sit-down restaurants. I don't remember if this was touched on already, but we have sit-down restaurants where you can use your dining dollars and like make a little reservation with your friends and go like have an actual meal, and it's like covered by your dining dollar meal plan. So there's the Bistro and there's 64 North. They're on opposite sides of campus, and the Bistro is like sushi and ramen and a bunch of really yummy food like dumplings. I don't know, it's really good. And then 64 North is kind of like pasta, salmon, like steak, kind of like, I don't know if higher end is the right term, but just like really nice meals that you can go with your friends after like maybe finals or after a midterm or something. And it's just nice to like break up going to like just a dining hall all the time. It's nice that you have that opportunity.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to switch gears a little bit. So we have had an attendee ask, is it easy to find a job or internship coming from UC San Diego? So let's go ahead and start with Rocco.
So unfortunately for me, I have had to do summer school because like trying to balance 2 majors, that's a lot of classes. And so I had to like throw them into the summer. So I haven't looked for internships. However, if it makes any sense, when I was giving a tour, actually like when I first started out, I was mentioning that I am involved in like aerospace organizations on campus. I told people about my majors, and twice I was offered like contact information, like to get in touch with people and like extended internships. One was from Boeing, and another was from a satellite company. And I can't remember the name, unfortunately, but it was like interesting because they knew that like since I was involved in aerospace organizations, I seemed like a cool guy apparently. And since they knew that they could trust UC San Diego, I already just by kind of introducing myself, they're like, oh yeah, hey, like you seem like a good applicant here. Like feel free to reach out further. Unfortunately though, I had to do summer school, so I couldn't pursue that. But otherwise, a lot of great ways to get involved on campus are through the clubs and organizations. So I believe it was mentioned earlier, we have over 600 clubs and organizations, and that's a really great way to get that hands-on experience. So for instance, in my first year, I had no like rocket building experience or anything. Like I had never done any of that. I was just coming into my first year of college, but there was a club event which was recruiting, or it was named Rocket Propulsion Laboratory. And they were actively recruiting new members just like me who didn't have any experience. They said, hey, like, we don't care if you've never built a rocket, we'll teach you. because that's what we want to do. We want to pass on that knowledge. And then they were working on a project to become the first student organization to send a group propelled rocket into space. And that was really exciting because like such a high level goal. And I would have been like, oh, there's absolutely no way I can ever get involved with that. Like I just started college. I don't know anything. But they recruited, they taught me, they showed me the ropes. We started off small, building like model rockets. And eventually I got bumped up to working on the big project. I was working on the recovery system, basically making sure it wasn't going to crash down to the ground. And so we could recover it. And that was really exciting to get involved. And that's one of the top ways that people get that hands-on experience. In addition to that, I also, like after I moved on from RPL, I was looking at starting research at UCSD. And so I was about to start working in a lab, which was working on developing a telescope for an observatory in Chile, the Simons Observatory. And that's a cosmological telescope, which is like discovering evidence of the cosmic microwave background. So really cool physics, like astrophysics stuff. And that's like with an engineering application or engineering stuff with a physics application. So that was just literally on campus. So off campus, I haven't looked, but on campus, I already had great club involvement, internships offered to me, and research abilities or research opportunities available. So that's just my personal experience, at least.
Thanks for sharing, Rocco. Joy, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I was like a upcoming fourth year student too. Like experience is super important in like finding like the job field and stuff. And honestly, like one of the best thing that I do here is representing the university as like a campus ambassador. So like part of this job like is part of like giving tours to prospective students and families, talking to like students like you that are interested in coming to the university. And same thing, like when you talk about like your own club involvements, I'm part of like the Undergraduate Communication Society, or like I'm part of like a Christian fellowship, or I talk about like my freelance portraiture, like in photography. Like these things like really like draw in a lot of students and like their parents. And I've also had some like guests' families like reach out to me, give me like their business cards, things like that. That's been super amazing just to see like how like showing like somebody around the campus has like such a personal like touch, like even on their lives, and how that like shows like how you could be like a good candidate for their company. With that being said, I don't really do internships off campus currently. I mostly focus on like this job here, as well as pursuing my own freelance portraiture and like couples photography. And that's what I've been doing with my time. But in the future, I really want to work in like public relations, marketing, a lot of community building kind of things in my major, and like the organizations I've joined because of my major with like UCS Undergraduate Communication Society have really helped boost that in my career goals.
Thank you, Joy. Ashio?
Yeah, so internships off campus, I can talk a little bit more about that. Actually, my first year here at UC San Diego, I actually was talking to someone who was helping people to register people to vote. And actually, that's how I got my first internship, working with, who was it? Helping people to register to vote. And then from there, I've looked on jobs and internships off campus, such as Handshake, on the Real Portal. This past year, I've worked at the LGBT Resource Center as an intern. I've applied through Handshake and gotten a lot of info from people from the LLC Living Learning Community. So often talk to people around you. They'll give you connections. Also, this past year, I've worked off campus with Justice Corps, where people fill out restraining orders, any kind of restraining order, any kind of paperwork I've helped them out with. And also this summer, sadly, I was supposed to do research in Cambodia, doing HIV research at a non-governmental organization, NGO. But yeah, you can always look through that Handshake in the Real Portal. They'll always have jobs available, internships off campus, on campus, research opportunities. There's a lot. This is a research facility most of the time, the university. So there's a lot of, if you're in the bio field, there's a lot of research opportunities. If you're not in the bio field or any STEM field, there is still a lot of research opportunities. If you're in political science, there's a lot of opportunities to work with different council members and things like that.
Thank you. Noelle, anything to add?
Yeah, so I can talk as well about like off-campus employment and on-campus, I guess. I just got an internship on Handshake with Fashio, which Fashio mentioned, which is kind of like a university like job website. Like it's specific to college students and like recent graduates, so that's super nice. But yeah, I just got an internship on there, so that's a really like user-friendly platform, and a lot of local kind of companies in La Jolla will post on there. Like that's what my internship did. They look to recruit like San Diego college students. So it's a very specific kind of job field market. I don't know what you would call that. And then also like what was mentioned, the Real portal. I've had a lot of friends get research positions on that portal, and it's really nice because it's updated often. You can also just reach out to professors if you find like a professor that is in your field or you're really interested in their work. We have a Dine with a Professor program. I don't know if that was mentioned either, but if you have a professor or you want to, or like your own professor, or you want to meet up with a professor that you really like admire and you want to learn more about, oftentimes you can go to your college's office and get like a little slip, and it's basically good for one dinner or one coffee with professor. And basically with that, you can just sit down or go to your professor, like tell them that you would like to treat them to dinner or a coffee, and just say you're really interested in their work, and kind of like go on a little like date with them, I guess, and just learn about what they do. And a lot of my friends have gotten their positions through that program, and are currently working as research assistants through just like either emailing a professor or utilizing that program to like make a connection. Oftentimes professors are like more than willing to either point you in the right direction to people who are hiring for their labs or for like kind of other jobs, or like just offer you a position out there. So yeah.
Thanks, Noel. That's a really great program. Joy, did you want to talk about the Take a Triton to Work program?
Yeah, so I just remembered like we have the Career Center, which is a really good way to get connected with our alumni and like a lot of opportunities, and even figuring out what you want to do for a career, because you don't have to know exactly what you want to do when you come to school, and we're here to help you figure that out. So one of the programs that I participated in was Take a Triton to Work Day. And so this would connect you with like professionals all over the country. And over winter break last year, I connected with somebody who works in event planning for UC San Diego. She actually was a huge head of the $2 billion campaign, which is what brings in funding for our university, so we can support all these different activities we do for our students. And so we actually grabbed breakfast one of the days of winter break over at this little cafe called Caroline's. It's like right out on the beach. It's actually really close to it's like part of the campus basically. There's a huge student discount, so there's like a 30% student discount, just pro tips out there. And I asked her like what her experience was like working in event planning for like the university, if she had any opportunities to extend to me. And so we're connected on LinkedIn. She still reaches out to me and checks in on me occasionally. And you can really use these opportunities to your advantage in finding those internships and building your network here in university.
Thank you, Joy. Okay, so our next question is, what is social life like at UC San Diego? So what do students do for fun? And we can go ahead and start with Noelle.
Yeah, so the great thing about UC San Diego, which has been mentioned a lot, is there are a lot of different ways to get involved. So literally no matter what you are interested in, like it can be anything at all, which I'm sure has been kind of like apparent through what we've been saying, but anything at all, and you can find like a club or an organization to get involved in that. I think something that's been really great for me is having like different organizations and different outlets to get experiences through and just to make friends through. Obviously, like you have your residence halls, which is like, you know, where you live, like your roommates, your suite mates. So that's like one social outlet. You can go to the beach with them, you can go to dinner with them, you can go explore La Jolla with them. That's always really fun. And then you have kind of like your classes, which you just meet people in like all throughout the university, all different years, all different majors. So that's like another outlet. And then for me personally, my first year joined a sorority. So that was kind of like the first organization that I decided to join. And I met a lot of my really good friends through that. And I've gotten like internships and jobs through my sorority, as well as just like an outlet and like a friend group to go do things with. And like, that's been super nice. And the connections you get through that are super awesome. And then I'm also part of the Cognitive Science Student Association, which does a lot of networking events. So we'll do things with like the Undergraduate Communication Society, and they'll have like big speakers come and talk and just say like what they do. So if you want like a more professional kind of social life, like working on your potential career, there's that. And then there's just all sorts of different events through the colleges in the San Diego area, like that you can go to. We're just in a very central area to the beach, downtown San Diego, for like if you are interested in concerts or any types of events. Like you're in like a very, it's nice because you're in a beach town, but you're also very close to like all the activity that San Diego has to offer. So yeah, that's what I would say. I love my social life at UCSD. It's fun.
Great, thank you. And we have a follow-up question for you, Noelle. What are the sororities like at UC San Diego? Can you kind of talk about the Greek experience?
Yeah, definitely. So we do have 12 Panhellenic, I can't remember, 11 Panhellenic sororities, and then we have one that is kind of, it's called Phi Sigma Rho. So you kind of, it's for STEM majors. So it's just a different process than Panhellenic, but in total we have 12 sororities that you can join. I'm not sure how many fraternities we have, but you go through a formal recruitment. That might be a little bit different this year just because of COVID-19, but basically if you are interested in going SFL, which is what we've changed it to, sorority and fraternity life, if you're interested in joining that, there should be like a bunch of information on how to get involved. For me, it was really great just because, like I mentioned earlier, there are like 600 organizations to join. And I just really wanted to be in like an organization with a bunch of women that are super, super driven. And that's like the whole Panhellenic community, like no matter what sorority you join. Everyone is just super amazing and like so nice. And it's just like a great environment to surround yourself with. And everyone is just doing amazing things. And also like, it's nice to have people that are older than you. Like a lot of my sorority sisters were in their 3rd and 4th years when I was a 1st year and could kind of help like show me the ropes of college. And like, you know, it's just nice having someone who's already gone through like general education classes. It can help you like pick which classes to take and give you advice on like your major and potential job opportunities. And yeah, it's one of the best things I ever did. So if you're interested in that, I would definitely recommend it.
Thank you, Noelle. Bashio, do you want to talk about social life at UC San Diego and kind of what you do for fun?
Definitely. So social life, you can also go to a lot of events that the Resource Center hosts. So we have 7 resource centers. We have the Women's Resource Center, the LGBT Resource Center, the Black Resource Center, the Raza Resource Central, the CCC, the Cross Cultural Center, the ITRC Intertribal Resource Center, and then also APIMATED, which is Asian Pacific Island, Middle Eastern Desi Asian programs and services. So if you actually sign up for their newsletters, you can actually get weekly updates of like the different events that the different interns are hosting. And also that the center is hosting themselves, and it's a great way to meet people part of the different communities that they serve. But also, if you don't identify as part of the community that they serve, you can also go. They're really great educational events for allies who want to become allies and things like that. So I would definitely recommend that if you're into that.
Great, thank you. Joy, anything to add?
I think Noelle Facio added some like really great points. I guess what I would say in like terms of social life, like really like reach out. Like I was so afraid in coming to school and like what it would be like to make friends, because like in high school, like I had all my friends that like I knew for like 4 years and everything too. And so what I did to help my social life in coming to school after I was accepted was I was added to this Facebook group called the Class of 2021 page. And everybody basically made like these introduction posts about like looking for roommates, looking for friends and things like that. And that's how I found one of my 1st year roommates. And she's like one of my best friends there, like here too. And I actually had 2 roommates my 1st year. They're both my best friends still now. We got really close because like we like started a group chat together, like we'd play Minecraft online together sometimes. And we would go to like all the Welcome Week events. So like Welcome Week makes it super easy to go and connect with other students who are here. Like they basically throw like these movie nights or like free food events, and all the organizations want to reach out and like get you to join them too. So like reaching out to your friends, like joining an organization, those are like the best things that I could recommend to anybody looking to like enhance or enrich their social life.
Thanks. Rocco?
Definitely to kind of like highlight what Joy said about joining the Facebook page. Like Facebook is irrelevant until you get to college, and then boom, it explodes and you use it for everything. At least in my experience, and like it's really super helpful for planning events. And then especially if you're one planning event, you can invite all your friends and like let everyone know. It's really good to get the word out. So that's like one huge resource for like making sure you're up to date, knowing when the free concerts are, when like the free food is, when the sporting events are, when everything's going on. I have a great time personally. Like I also met roommates from like both my roommates from the Facebook chat. You know, I made my introduction. I was like, oh, these dudes, they seem pretty cool. They think I'm pretty cool. So we ended up rooming together, becoming really close friends. And there's another thing I want to point out. Like, I mean, I know we keep saying there's a humongous population, but also with such a large population, there's gonna be at least a couple people that want to do whatever it is that you want to do. So if you're like, oh no, like nobody likes rare 18th century instruments like I do, odds are someone else has the same weird passion that you do. I don't know, like no shame if you like interesting passions, but like there's so many people that you're gonna find someone else that has the same interest as you. All you got to do is look, you know, or just join one of the clubs that are already there. Or if there's not a club for your particular passion, it's really easy to make one. All you need is yourself, 3 other friends, and then a constitution to say what it is that you want to do. Like I know there's a shorts club on campus dedicated to wearing shorts 365 days a year. There's a Sandy Eggo club dedicated to eating Eggos in the sand. And then there's also professional organizations. Like there's sororities, fraternities, there's aerospace organizations like I was in. There's anything that you want to do on campus, there either is a club or it's not that hard to make a club and get it started. And so at least in my personal experience, it's as long as you go outside and want to meet people, like I sit down next to like new people on the first day of class, and I introduce myself. And then I've met a lot of great friends that way, because people that like everyone wants to have a good time, make some cool friends, and have a good college experience. So I'd say it's pretty awesome.
Thank you, Rocco. Okay, the next question is, what has been your favorite class taken at UC San Diego? Let's go ahead and start with Noelle.
I feel like that's so hard. I don't know. There's so many like good classes that we have. I would say, especially for me, I came in, this is a little bit of a tangent, but I came into college as a psych major, and I just wanted something more like interdisciplinary. So I loved psych, and I still do, but I started taking my cog sci classes in the first, which is my major now, and the first cog sci class I took was Cogs 11. So it's like minds and brains. So it's just all these really cool things about how your mind works, like what happens in your, I don't know how to explain it. It's just a lot of really cool facts about the brain and facts about how your mind works, how you perceive things, kind of just like an introductory class on like psych and cognitive science. And then it goes into like linguistics and just like anthropology and all these like different sectors all combining with how your mind works. And that was also the class that really made me consider switching my major, which I eventually did. And I just like fell in love with cognitive science. So I'd say that was probably my favorite class.
Thanks for sharing. Okay, Fashio, favorite class?
Really hard question again. I really like a lot of my upper division classes because they're more specialized. One of my favorite classes, I think, was CGS 111, which is Gender and Reproductive Politics, where we talk about the politics of reproduction medicine and also about gender. I also like my Intro to Global Health class, which is Global Health 20 if you come to UC San Diego. Interesting facts just to know. But I actually like the class because the professor was really nice, and she actually she worked with populations in TJ in the shelters for people who were asking for asylum, and we actually got to go to one of the shelters one day and actually go work with the population that she worked with. So that was really one of my favorite classes. And hopefully this upcoming fall, which I'm really excited about, taking a peer counseling class, which I'm really excited about. So hopefully, yeah.
Thank you. Joy?
That's such a hard question. I feel like I've enjoyed so many of my classes here too. I think my favorite one was, strangely enough, taken last quarter, even when we had classes all through Zoom. I took a class on photographic documentary. It was my junior seminar for communication. And basically what the whole class was about was learning how to like create a documentary from photographs and videos. And we spent like this whole quarter doing that. And so I really poured my heart and soul into like this documentary about like what it felt like to be like a caged bird during quarantine and freedom, like what freedom meant to me. And like the hand holding and stuff, like, and the guidance with my professor who cares so much about me. Like he even like reached out and was like, oh, like if you ever need like a letter of recommendation, like reach out and stuff. So that was one of my favorite classes I've taken, along with my language courses. So like I really wanted to connect more with like my Taiwanese roots. And so I took in a lot of Mandarin courses here, and these classes are so small, so intimate. These are the smallest classes I've ever taken here too. There's only about 10 students in each class. Especially as you go into the upper division levels, and you get so many opportunities to like talk to the professor and talk within like the class itself. And you get to talk about like cool things such as like, what is life like when you're like 80 years old living in China or Taiwan or like the Asian countries where they speak Mandarin, or like what is it like to like study abroad in another foreign country, but still discussing this all in Mandarin Chinese. So that's some of my best experiences here.
That sounds awesome. Thanks for sharing. Rocco, favorite class?
I've had a lot of interesting like classes for my major, like learning about like a bunch of really cool like astrophysics related things. But some of my favorite classes have, surprisingly to me at least, been my GEs. So like similar to Joy, I also took a language class. So I took a year full of Portuguese classes, and it was really cool to have like such a small classroom setting, and like you're with everyone for that full year, and you get to be really close and learn a lot in a whole new language. And then also, but my favorite class would be from the COGS sequence, because I did COGS for my GEs, and I did also COGS 11 Minds and Brains. That was super interesting because I was like, wait, what? So like that's why it does what it does, and to kind of like learn everything about it. There was another class about technology in the brain, and then one just kind of like all cognitive science in general. And those three classes were probably three of my most interesting classes that I've ever had. And obviously the COGS sequence, but there's a lot of fun classes you can take at UCSD.
Thanks, Rocco. Looks like we have time for about 2 more questions. So I wanted to touch on the living on campus experience. So what's that like for those of you who have lived on campus? How are the residence halls? And can one of you touch on how roommates are assigned? Let's go ahead and start with Noelle.
Yeah, so I lived on campus my first year. How I found it's great, just to start out, it's fun. Just to start out, I found my roommate on the Facebook group. There are a lot of like different ways to find roommates, but I think Joy mentioned it earlier. For every class, there is for me, it was like the class of 2022 Facebook page. So when I got accepted to UC San Diego, I joined this page. It had a lot of first year students in it. And like I think Joy mentioned, you would do like introductions. So I'd be like, hi, my name is Noelle. I do this, that, these are my interests. And I would say I was looking for a roommate, and I found my roommate on there, and she became one of my best friends. So that's how I found mine. You can also, or let me backtrack. Rooms are assigned in either typically singles or triples. There are a few doubles, but that's the majority. So you can either pick like a single room or pick a triple room. So I was in a triple, which means like 3 people in a room. And then you can either find a roommate through a Facebook group, maybe someone you went to high school with, someone you have mutual friends with. If you want to pick a roommate, and when housing contracts and like when that whole timeline comes out of like picking a roommate, submitting your choice of room, you kind of go through that whole process. You can have like a roommate assigned to you, and you two can live together, or you can do random. So if you don't want to pick a roommate, or if you just want to do like random selection, they send you like a little questionnaire that you fill out with your preferences, just on a bunch of different things, and they'll match you with someone that they think is compatible, that you'll get along with in like a living situation. So if you don't want to go through the process of finding a roommate before you get to UC San Diego, that's a great way to do it as well. But in terms of living on campus, it's a really great experience as a first year, because you are like always on campus. Like I mentioned earlier, you're meeting the people that you live with in your residence halls, your residence assistants, which are people who kind of are just there to help you through your first year. They live in the same floor as you. They're just kind of like an older kind of mentor to help you with anything you might need. They put on events for you. So my residence assistant would get like Chick-fil-A, and then we did like a Bob Ross painting night with like McDonald's, like random combination, but that was like kind of fun. So yeah, it's a good experience.
Thank you, Noelle. Ashio?
So I had a different experience. I kind of went through random selection, and like Noelle mentioned, it's a little questionnaire, and you get to pick what room. So I got in a triple with 2 other people, which we kind of talk here and there. It happens, you know, sometimes you don't click with your roommates. But thankfully, your second year, you get to choose who you want to live with a little bit if you live on campus. So your second year is more of an apartment style. You have, this time in Muir specifically, you get a kitchen, which is really nice. So me and my roommates really do cook a lot. We've also had really nice like little dinner parties, as fancy as we could. Also talking a little bit about like the LLC application. So that's like a separate application that you can sign up to be part of the LLCs again. I think I mentioned one of the LLCs, which is the LGBTQIA+ LLC. The other 3 are the ABD LLC, the African Black Diaspora LLC, the Multicultural LLC, and also the Raza LLC. And you can definitely be in those living learning communities. And if you're worried that you won't find anyone that's in the same college as you, you definitely will. There's someone that has to be part of the same college as you, and you'll meet a lot of people with that community identify with. But yeah.
Anything to add?
I think Noelle and Facio did an amazing job. My experience was scarily close to exactly how Noelle's was. So she basically said exactly what I would say.
Thank you. And Rocco?
Yeah, I also found roommates through the Facebook group, and like I loved it so much. Like we had, I lived in a triple, so there was me and then 2 other dudes, and then we had so much fun. We had like a lot of like lore from our apartment. Like one of us was a superhero. We had like a bunch of inside jokes, and it was just a really good time. And definitely I would recommend seeing like if you can find like make some friends, get to know some people, and meet them through the Facebook group, because like I mean it worked for me at least. But definitely like if you do decide to go random, I know there's a little bit of a questionnaire that you fill out, like do you like to stay up late, go to bed early, like to listen to music when you do homework and stuff like that, just to kind of make sure that they match you up with someone that's at least roughly similar. But I had a great roommate experience, and I definitely recommend checking the Facebook and getting all of that taken care of. And also it works for finding friends in general, like not just people that you have to room with.
Wonderful, thank you. And it looks like we have time for just one more question. So I want to end by asking you all if you could give any advice to prospective students, what would that be? And feel free to think about it for a little bit. Noelle, when you're ready, go ahead and start us off.
I would say, that's such a loaded question. I would say just when you're picking schools, like really, or when I mean, hopefully you get the chance to tour them, take advantage of like virtual options as of now. Like obviously if you're all here, you're taking that first step and like kind of watching what UC San Diego is like. So definitely do this for other schools. You definitely have the time right now. So do your research. I definitely researched schools, but I think like just in general, I could have researched more like majors and like organizations. Just like even at UC San Diego before I came in, because there was a lot of stuff that I had no idea existed, even up until this year, because there is just so much to do. So really take your time and just like find a school that is really going to work for you in all different ways. And I know that can seem a little daunting, a little bit hard, but you have the time right now, like everyone does. So definitely just like do your research and like find a school that you're really happy at.
Thank you. Facio?
Yeah, definitely. I think another thing is like really looking if the city that's surrounding the school is for you. Just a lot of people after their 4 years of college usually live in the city that they went to college in. So really looking if the college is for the city surrounding is for you. Kind of for me, I like more of a busier city. So going through colleges, I try to look for busier towns and busier cities. San Diego, even though we're La Jolla, tends to be a little bit more busier. So I usually do a lot of work opportunities. I think I accidentally got switched out for a quick minute, but definitely check for the different resources that we have here on campus and how they offer it and how great they are. Just because it is your college experience and making sure that you have the best time in college and in life is really important.
Thank you. Joy?
Yeah, so can't believe the webinar is coming to a close already. Well, congrats if you made it all the way like an hour in. I think my biggest piece of advice for like prospective students in the middle of their like college journey and like search is like to learn that it's not always just about what institution you go to, but how you take advantage of your opportunities. And so like UC San Diego, we have so much to offer. And like I'd be amazed if like I'm so honored if you wanted to come here and everything too. But if this isn't like your place and everything, that's completely all right too. So like you are in control of your future, no matter where you go for school.
Thanks so much, Joy. Last but not least, Rocco.
My kind of closing advice would be to keep your options open and make sure that you're going to a place where you'll be happy at. Because like regardless of whatever education you receive, you're going to be at this place for like presumably 4 years. So make sure that you like it. Make sure it's a good area. Make sure that it's somewhere that you're going to be happy. And then also, like I said, keep your options open. So like for me, like I knew I wanted to do engineering, or at least like I thought I wanted to do engineering right out of high school. And even if you have like a certain career track in mind, like you're like, oh, I want to be like the world's best chemist, keep your options open and make sure that you don't just like focus on one aspect. Make sure you go to a school that has other opportunities for you. Like, let's say you get there and you're like, oh, like turns out engineering isn't as awesome as I thought it was. You want to be able to have some other career or some other major choice available to you. So you want to go to a good school that allows you to keep your options open and have flexibility, not just like to switch your educational path in general, but also to branch out and reach into other areas that you might want to try out. You know, like you're like, maybe you still love engineering, but you're like, hey, I've never really like tried taking a couple film classes, and you want to like try that or pursue like other certain hobbies. You want to go to a school that allows you that flexibility to choose and pursue those certain hobbies. So that's my biggest advice. Make sure you're going to be happy there and keep your options open. Like, don't focus on just like, oh, is this school like the #1 engineering school in the world? If you're not going to be happy there, because that doesn't mean anything if you're going to have a miserable time. So make sure you're happy. That's my biggest advice.
Wonderful. Thank you for all of that great advice, everyone. Thank you all for joining us. I hope you were able to get all of your questions answered, and thank you to all the wonderful campus ambassadors who provided those great answers to all of the questions. Just wanted to end by showing you all our contact information. So as you can see on the slide on the screen, we linked our website on there for you. So admissions.ucsd.edu. There's a lot of great resources on there. If you have a question that's more specific about admissions requirements, you can email us at personalreply@ucsd.edu. And if you want to set up a one-on-one admissions advising appointment with our admissions officers, you can do so on our website by following the URL on the screen, admissions.ucsd.edu/virtual advising. This was one of our first Triton Talks of our Triton Talks webinar series. So there's many more coming your way. You can sign up for those webinars at admissions.ucsd.edu/Triton Talks. It's not on the screen right now, but I'm going to send it your way in the chat feature. Just keep looking out for emails from us and look at our social media for event promotions. We have a lot of great events coming your way. Thanks everyone for joining us, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you.